Lists and loops. What have we learned so far in Python? We've learned about one inbuilt function called exit and some vocabulary words called if else, while, and true false. We also learned about continue, but that's very similar to exit except the total opposite. Exit basically stops or gets out of the loop or code running. It finishes the entire code at that moment. Continue does the total opposite. It basically continues on and keeps on going. Now we're going to learn about vocabulary words. If else. If else is used when we need to say two different things for the same question. What I mean by this is, let's say we're going to ask our user if they want to continue or stop. If they say continue, then we continue. If they say stop, they say stop. We stop it or exit it. In this scenario, we would need our if-else statement. While. While is to make something go in a repeating loop which goes on and on and on and on and on and many more ons. Of course, until you exit or say false. True and false. True and false are used when basically making something work or not work. True and false are mostly used when we're using while. We can say while true to continue making it run and run and run. We can also do false if we want to stop the program from running. Let's see what we'll learn today in Python. What are we going to learn in Python today? We're going to learn about for loops, lists, and range. Range is an inbuilt function. For loops and lists are another vocabulary word. We'll learn about more vocabulary words and inbuilt functions when we're learning about lists and coding it. For loops. What are for loops? A for loop is another small way to say while true, except it's an end and don't always need to use exit. It is a way to explore variables, lists, and more. For loops are used when wanting to print a range of numbers or to print certain parts of a list and more. We'll explore more about for loops in part 2, but we'll learn the basics in part 1. Lists. Lists mean a series of things in the real world. For example, apples, pears, strawberries, oranges. This is a list. A list in Python means the same exact thing, except how you code it is a bit different. In Python, the same list would be written like this and also stored in a variable. For a variable, let's say it was called fruits, then our list would have to have brackets around it. And instead of just plain old words, there has to be strings. And then you put your commas, of course, because lists have to have commas. Range. When we talk about range, we usually think of distance. How far does this range stretch, or how many numbers are in this range of numbers? When we talk about range in Python, it is very similar. Let's say you wanted to print a range of numbers and a couple of lines of code. To do this, we would need to use range. Range is an inbuilt function because it has brackets after. A note to remember is that in Python, anything with brackets around it is usually an inbuilt function. So let's see how to code all these three. Again, we'll be learning more about lists in part 1, and we'll do more about for loops and lists in part 2. This is just the basics. We're going to begin off like this. We're going to print a list called fruits. And inside this list, we're going to put apples, pears, oranges, and plums. Now we know how to use print, so let's see what happens when you print fruits. And we run it, and it prints our list. apples, pears, oranges, and plums. So what if we wanted to access an element in our list? Let's say we wanted to print this certain apples, or this certain pears, or oranges, or plums. How would we do this? Well, to do this, we would print fruit bracket minus 0. Now what does this mean? Well, if we run it, what do we get? We get apples. First, I'm going to explain it like this. Every time in Python, it's when you have a list, this is going to be your 0th element. Your first element, your second element, and your third element. In the real world, this would be considered your first element, second element, third element, and fourth element. But in Python, there's only 3 elements. 0, 1, 2, 3. So when we say fruits brackets 0, it's saying print the 0th element. When we do fruits 1, we print pears because it's the first element. Of course, it's the second element in the real world. If we wanted to print oranges, we'd go 0, 1, 2, and print fruits 2, and give us oranges. If we wanted to print plums, we would do 0, 1, 2, 3, then print 3, and it prints plum. Let's say you have a billion elements in your fruits, and you don't know which one's going to be the last one. But you want to print it. You know that you're going to print the last element. To print your last element in the list, you're going to have to do -1. In this case, they'll print plums. This is just an easy way to print the last element in your list. But let's say we wanted to put this in the starting of a sentence. Then it would have to be capitalized or titled. How would we do this? To do uppercase, we would do, let's start off fresh. Names is equal to Bob, Sarah, Darrow, and Lily, for example. And we're going to take our first name, so we're going to take names bracket 0, and this we know would print Bob. That Bob needs to be capitalized because it's a name. To capitalize it, we would do .title, which is a function because you can see that has brackets at the end. An inbuilt function always has brackets in Python. And when we print this, it'll get us Bob with a capital B. And you can also use these elements into messages and use them like variables. What I mean by this is, let's say our message was equal to a string called I like eating space plus fruits. We're going back to fruits. 1, meaning pears, plus period. And when we print this message, it'll give us, I like eating pears, period. We run this and it says, I like eating pears. You can also change certain elements in lists. We're going to have a list called animals. Animals is going to be equal to a list which includes dog, cat, hamster, and computer. Now, computer doesn't really fit in. It's not really an animal. We need to change this. First, we're going to print our animals. And it gives us dog, cat, hamster, and computer. But we don't want this to be stay as computer because it's not an animal. To change this, we would first do animals 3 or -1. Doesn't matter because we want to access the last element in our list. In this case, it can be 0, 1, 2, 3, or -1 or -1. And instead of computer, we're saying it's going to be bird, for example. What this is doing is it's basically thinking itself, okay, so first animals -1 is computer, and now it's going to be equal to bird. So when we print animals now, instead of printing dog, cat, hamster, computer, it's going to print dog, cat, hamster, bird. Let's run it to find out if it's correct. And yeah, so now it does make sense. Instead of computer in the animal section, it's bird in the animal section. You can also add elements to your list. To do this, we used many things. Something called insert, append, things like that. We're going to explore this. Let's say we wanted to add an animal to our animals list. To do this, we would do animals.append. And we're going to append snake. When we print animals now, it'll print snake at the end of our list. It won't print it anywhere. It'll always print at the end of our list. We can also add more animals into this list. We can say animals.append rat. Print animals. And we'll print dog, cat, hamster, bird, snake, rat. But what if you didn't want it to add at the end of your list, but in the first time at your list, or the first element? To do this, we would use insert. Let's say we wanted it to become the first element in our list. So we would put insert 0, parrot, let's say. And print animals. What does it print? It prints parrot, dog, cat, hamster, bird, snake, rat. Why do we have to put 0 and then parrot? Well, 0, like I said, means the first element in your list. So since we wanted parrot to come at the beginning, we had to put 0 and then parrot. You could also put it your second. If you want to put your second, you would put 1, parrot, and then it'd be dog, parrot, cat, hamster, bird, snake, rat. But in this case, we're just going to keep it as the first element. You can also remove elements from lists. There are many ways to remove an element from a list. You can use del, which is a vocabulary word in Python. If you do del animals and then choose your index, let's say the last element in your list, then it will remove rat, because rat is our last element in the list. So del is a small way to say delete. So we're saying delete rat. When we print animals again, there won't have any rat in it anymore. See? Parrot, dog, cat, hamster, bird, snake. No rat. This is one way to delete an animal from a list. Or an element from a list, sorry. You can also use something called pop. Pop is another inbuilt function. When we do animal.pop, it basically pops off the last element on your list. So we have to print it, of course, for it to show. It prints parrot, dog, cat, hamster, bird. No more snake. it popped snake off. You can also store this pop into a variable. Let's say snake, because we popped off snake, is animals.pop. So you can print snake. And it prints snake. So this animals.pop is kind of stored. But we're not going to do that in this case. Another way to delete things from a list is using remove, a function. We could do animals.remove whatever the string is called, or the number. In this case, we're going to delete parrot since we already have bird. We're going to do animals.remove parrot string, and then print animals. And when we run this, no more parent. It's back to what it used to be. It used to be dog, cat, hamster, bird, then dog, cat, hamster, bird, snake, then dog, cat, hamster, bird, snake, rat, then parrot, dog, cat, hamster, bird, snake, rat, and parrot, dog, cat, hamster, bird, snake, parrot, dog, cat, hamster, bird, and finally dog, cat, hamster, bird. So this is about adding and removing elements from a list. Let's say we wanted to print it in alphabetical order. How do we do this? To do from alphabetical order, we have to sort it out. To do this, we would use another function called sort. Animals.sort or a list.sort basically sorts it into alphabetical order. So when we print animals, it'll print an alphabetical order. Bird, cat, dog, hamster. And we know this is correct because if you sing the ABCs, you'll think A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. We could also reverse this, not meaning go back to dog, cat, hamster, bird, but from Z to A instead of A to Z. Simply by doing animals.sort, but in this brackets we would put reverse is equal to true. Reverse meaning another vocabulary word in Python and making it true. If we put it false, it wouldn't happen. If we put it true, it would happen. And let's print our animals to see if this works. And run it, and we get hamster, dog, cat, bird from Z to A instead of A to Z. We can also print the length of lists. Simply, we print len, another function in Python, animals. Now, for now, of course, it is the length would be 4 because there's 4 elements. And when we run this, we get 4. Now we're going to talk about something called loops and range. I'm going to first code it and then explain it. For I in range 1 to 100, print I. Now what is this doing? Well, this is something called a for loop, and this is range, one of the inbuilt functions we learned about today. First I'm going to explain range and then go on to loops. We know that range means distance. So when we say range 1 to 100, we're saying from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, all the way up to 100. But in Python, it's 1 less, meaning if you say 1, it'll say 1 up till all the way up to 99. It always is 1 less. It won't be exact. It'll do 1 less. We'll explore this after we run it. See, instead of 100, it finishes at 99, and it starts at 1. What is this loop doing? Well, what it's doing is when I say for I, a random variable, you can name this anything. It doesn't have to be I. It could be a or rat or snake or parrot or something random. Of course, not a number because variables are numbers. We're going to change this to a just to confirm it. Yeah. So now let's see what this is doing. A is a variable, and variables always have something stored into them. So what is A storing? Well, it's storing a number, and it can be different numbers too. When we say for A in range 1 to 100, meaning for A in 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way up to 99, because in this case it's 99, it'll say, alright, the first time A would become 1. The second time it goes in this for loop, A will become 2. The third time, A will become 3. The fourth time, A will become 4, and so on until A is equal to 99. So there you have it, a loop and range. Now, pause this video and think, how can we use loops and lists together? Is it possible that we could print each element separately? I'm going to show you how to code this now. You're going to code for I in lists called animals, print I. That's all. That's super simple. If we run this, it'll print each element separately. Hamster, dog, cat, and bird. Replace this. Replace animals with hamster, dog, cat, and bird. We know that our animals is called, or a list called hamster, dog, cat, and bird. So when it says for I in hamster, dog, cat, and bird, print I, the first time I will become hamster. The second time I will become dog. The third time I will become cat. And the fourth time I will become bird. And we say print it, so it prints it. It's super simple. So now I'm going to tell you some ways to practice lists and loops at home. This is the end of part 1, lists and loops. Continue watching to part 2. But if you're bored and you want to do something to practice lists and loops, here they are. These are 3 simple ways to practice lists. The first way, or first exercise, is called names. Make a list of your friends and access each one of them at a time. Do not use for loop. The second time you do this, use for loop. The second exercise is called welcome. You are bored and decide to send each of your friends a separate message. Make a list of their names and write each of them a message. The third exercise is called make your own. Make your own list of cards and write a series of sentences about each of them. Now this is all one big project. Guests. You decide to call some of your friends over for dinner on your birthday. Make a list of your friends and send each of them a message that you're inviting. One less. You found out one of them can't come to the dinner and you decide to invite someone else. Send them a separate message and delete the person who cannot come. More guests. You found out that you have a bigger dining table and invite more people and send more messages. Whoops. You realized that the bigger dining table wasn't going to come in time and you have to cut the guest list to 5. Of course, you can change or cut the guest list to how many ever people you have. If you have more than 5 people at the time, cut it to 5. So this is the end of part 1, lists and loops. Please continue to watch part 2 and we'll learn more about these bigger, cooler lists and loops and how we can make them more fun and exciting. So bye.